Kuf Chav Hey Shira Malot Abotchim Badonai Kahar Tzion Lo Yimot Liolam Yeshev. So again, a song of ascents. We're climbing up the stairs. We're going up to Jerusalem. However, we want to understand these ma'alot, these stairs, these ascents. Those who trust in God, and we've seen in the past chapters, trusting in God, are like Har Tzion, are like Mount Zion, that cannot be moved, that endures forever. We know that Har Tzion, that the Temple Mount was mowed down. We know that the Batei Mikdash were destroyed, but the mountain is still there. It's still there, and those who say that this is referring to the future, when once again it will be at its grandest and most glorious, but it's something that is there. Yerushalayim harim savivla, Badonai saviv liamo me'ata v'adolam. Jerusalem, hills encircle it, and the Lord encircles. He is around his people now and forever. Right? When you go up to Yerushalayim, you're right, there are hills around it. You head up there if you're going from Tel Aviv or wherever it might be. You get to the Hare Yehuda. So there are many hills all over Jerusalem, the same way that the Har Tzion, that the Temple Mount, and that the hills of Jerusalem have hills around them. So too, God is sort of a protection, a barrier, encircles his people, and we say that it is something that is forever. And that is why the enemy ultimately has trouble defeating the Jewish people, defeating Jerusalem. Ki lo yanuach shevet haresha al goral atzadikim, leman lo yishlechu atzadikim ba'avlatam yedehem. Why do we need that? Why do we need this wall, this barrier, these mountains? Why do we need God? Because the scepter of the wicked never rests. It attacks the land allotted to the righteous. The righteous didn't do anything wrong to get this land. This is something given to us by God and the biblical period, and yet they are attacking us. And thus, Yerushalayim has to have harim savivla, has to have the mountains around it, and God has to be around it, us to protect us as well. Heitiva, we're in verse 4, pasuk daled, Adonai latovim v'lishorim b'libotam. Do good, God, to the good, to the upright in heart. Right? Help us, allow us to. We've done good, we've acted properly, and in a sense we're asking God, keep us alive, keep us protected, keep us prosperous, so we can continue to do good. V'hamatim ak lekalotam yolichem Adonai et poalei ha'aven shalom al Yisrael. But those who are crooked, those who are corrupt, God should do away with them. That's what we want to do. We are the righteous. The righteous should continue to live, and the wicked shall be taken care of by God. And the hope at the end of this prayer is Shalom al Yisrael. May Israel have peace. And the way that society seems to be set up in this chapter, what it's telling us is that we are surrounded by mountains. We're surrounded by God. There are all of these protections that are granted to us, and thus we have the belief, we're botech b'Hashem, that we will be protected. I want to point out here something that's very important for those who say, "Oh, we should just believe in God." But yes, belief in God and God's protection is helpful, but it can't just be God's protection. You can't lay down your arms and say, "I trust in God." We know that doesn't necessarily work. And so too here, geographically, we're saying, right, the hills of Jerusalem. Jerusalem is surrounded by hills. Our capital is built in a place that is strategically protected. And it shows the point that we can't just rely upon God. Ein somchin al hanes. We cannot rely upon miracles. We need to have, whether it be natural physical protections, all of the hills around Jerusalem, which makes it more difficult for enemies to invade, as well as, in addition to the protection of God, setting up our own protections in order to protect our cities, in order to protect ourselves from the wicked. But once again, this chapter, belief in God, belief that God protects us, that trust is significant and necessary.